I don't know what you mean, Sam, when you say, though, on threats from future Republican candidates like Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley. What do you mean by that? I don't know what you mean. I don't get the context of that. But I do love to show on Ted Cruz or Josh Hawley, so let me know. Jeff Bezos has stepped down as CEO of Amazon. I should say is stepping down. He's going to step down at the end of the year to be executive chairman of the board or something, some position. He's not leaving Amazon. And the reason why this is happening is twofold. One, the FTC said that Amazon has took $62 million from their employees, from their workers. I don't know if they're actually employees or independent contractors per se, but from their workers. Okay. Massive. And then we have obviously what's happening in Alabama. Okay. And I'm not going to get into it too long because I think everyone should go read this stuff. I think it's important to do that. But the anti-union tactics that's on display here by Amazon is extreme and indicative of a larger systemic issue with capitalism. You know, the fact that workers are trying to collectively have some power is such a threat that Amazon is, you know, hiring basically spooks from, you know, agencies like the FBI, NSA, CIA. I think it's, again, indicative of a massive systemic issue of capitalism, right? The oppression, exploitation of the employer to the employee is just massive. It's just on a different scale, man. Like I don't think people like truly get it, man. Like I think people really need to understand this union vote is going to be one that changes not only the entire country, but an entire international, multinational corporate system that, again, is deeply, deeply oppressive and exploitative. I'm going to play a video of this breaking down from More Perfect Union. I forget the name of the journalist. I think the name's going to pop up anyways, but you should follow her or they. I don't know their pronouns, but I think, again, follow them. The story's going to be insane. Let's play this video.
The workers in this Alabama warehouse, mostly black, mostly women, are on the verge of making history. Starting on February 8th, they will vote to decide whether to form the very first Amazon union in the United States. In doing so, they're taking on the world's richest man.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Hold on, guys. Let me just cancel out some stuff here. I think it'll go better. Let me start at the beginning as well. Sam O saying them being smart and talking about Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, them being a smarter version of Trump, like a fake populist. Yeah, but Ted Cruz ran against Trump and he failed. Like, people in Texas hate Ted Cruz. Josh Hawley is, I think, intriguing. Tom Cotton, though, I think is a more dangerous one. Like, I know that's probably cliche to say, but I do legitimately think Tom Cotton's the more dangerous of the three. He seems to have more like gravitas, so to speak, within the conservative movement than Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz. And there's something about that. Like, the people that are powerful seem to be pointing towards Tom Cotton in ways that they aren't pointing towards Ted Cruz for sure. And Josh Hawley is a maybe. You know, Josh Hawley is also very young, I think. So that hurts him in some fashion with the Republican Party. You gotta be an old white guy. And all Republicans are fake populists too. All conservatives are fake populists. Anyways, let's play this video now.
The workers in this Alabama warehouse, mostly black, mostly women, are on the verge of making history. Starting on February 8th, they will vote to decide whether to form the very first Amazon union in the United States. In doing so, they're taking on the world's richest man, who's been trying to stop unions for 25 years.
We don't believe that we need a union to be an intermediary between us and our employees.
So we're here on the ground in Bessemer, Alabama, to put a spotlight on these working people. They say conditions inside are like a sweatshop with grueling workload demands.
We're not treated as human beings. We're not even treated as robots. We're treated as part of the data stream.
They say Amazon uses cameras and surveillance to track their movements and productivity by the second. Amazon workers say they were forced to work despite having COVID symptoms. Over 20,000 Amazon workers have tested positive, and Alabama had one of the company's highest infection rates. With the union election coming up, Amazon is now trying to bar them from voting by mail during a pandemic. Even CNBC can't believe it.
As Amazon is pushing for this union vote to happen in person instead of by mail-in ballot. Think about that. Like, part of the whole reason why Amazon is so popular this year is because people want to do things distanced and by mail. The union wants that same thing for this vote, and Amazon does not.
The pandemic has been a boon for Amazon. Their stock price was up 70% in 2020. Jeff Bezos' wealth increased by $90 billion. And that's thanks to frontline Amazon workers in warehouses like this, in one of the poorest towns in Alabama, where workers haven't gotten hazard pay since June. The union organizers here have emphasized that workers' rights are civil rights. They see themselves as part of the movement fighting for the worth and value of Black lives. And victory here could reshape the future for hundreds of thousands of American workers. Analysts say they'd expect to see similar campaigns at Amazon's 800+ other U.S. facilities. As the campaign heats up, we'll be here to take your questions and keep you informed about what's going on. Stay tuned for more soon.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens there. I mean, that is, if that warehouse unionizes, it's a cascading effect all across Amazon's sort of industrial base. Okay, that's just the reality. Let's pray to God it happens. And to be honest, this is a far bigger piece of news than the GameStop Wall Street news. This affects far more lives materially. Heath Farley saying, where was that again? Bessemer? Fuck. I closed down the link for... Oh, yes. Bessemer. I believe that's how you pronounce it, though I don't know. Heath will tell me I'm wrong in the chat, of course. And on the note of billionaires making money during a pandemic where over 2 million people have died, I believe 80,000 U.S. People have died in the month of January alone. Though that number, make sure, let me double check that number. But Bessemer, thank you, Heath. Bessemer. Billionaires have made $3.9 trillion during the pandemic. Enough to pay for everyone's vaccine. Okay. How much do you think workers lost in the same amount of time? $3.7 trillion were stolen from us by the billionaire class, by the capitalist class, by the ruling class during a pandemic where hundreds of thousands of people in this country alone died. Millions of people died in the world. Okay. Millions upon millions of people have faced economic deprivation. Okay. So the idea that this is even allowed in any system, let alone a capitalist system, of course, and that is just like accepted by people, is just mind-blowing to me. The fact that people see this and don't become extremely radicalized against capitalism will always just be shocking to me. Like, I don't get it. I don't get the disconnect. That there are some people that see these numbers and go, you know what? That's just an issue of the state. That's, government needs to be smaller, needs to be bigger. Like, whatever their like justification for this is, I do not get it. Okay. In terms of like women and Gen Z saw the biggest losses, we know that in the month of, I think it was December, right? The net job loss in America was from women alone. Around 140,000 jobs were the net loss in the U.S. in December. They're all women. Like, how are people not radicalized by this shit? Like, I don't get it. And I know that there's a few people that watch this show that do not agree with my political ideology. So I'm genuinely curious. Like, how do you accept this? How? Like, how does this make sense to you? Just because like the government's too big, the government's too small? Like, is that really all it is for you? The economic system is what we're talking about here. Okay. And if you want to say that politics is intertwined with economics, awesome. That's great. Then you definitely cannot ignore capitalism.